let's be real. That first cup of coffee in the morning, it's more than just a drink, isn't it? It's a ritual. Whether it's coffee, tea, an energy drink, it feels like caffeine is the fuel that gets the whole world moving every single day. But what if that boost you rely on has a hidden cost?
We drink it to wake up, right? But we almost never stop to think about how it's affecting us when it's time to power down. That afternoon pick-me-up could actually be messing with your sleep in ways you don't even realize, basically robbing you of the deep, restorative rest your body is crying out for. Okay, let's get into it.
To really get what's happening, we've got to look inside the brain. Because every single time you take a sip of that latte or energy drink, you are kicking off this fascinating little chemical battle for control over your brain's natural sleep switch.
Okay, meet the main player in this whole story, a molecule called adenosine. The easiest way to think about it is like your brain's own internal sleep timer. From the second you wake up, adenosine starts to build up, creating what scientists call sleep pressure. The more of it that builds up, the stronger the signal for sleep gets. It's literally why you feel sleepier and sleepier as the day goes on.
So where does caffeine come in and mess all this up? Well, it's basically a master of disguise. See, adenosine needs to plug into these little docking stations in your brain, these receptors, to deliver its, hey, it's time to get drowsy message. But caffeine's chemical structure looks so similar to adenosine that it can swoop right in and steal its parking spot. It blocks the receptor. So even though the sleep pressure is still building, your brain never gets the message. And that's why you feel alert and wide awake.
But here's the big twist. Why can your friend down an espresso after dinner and sleep like a log, while just one cup in the morning has you staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m.? Well, the answer isn't just about what you're used to. It's actually written in your DNA. Turns out your personal reaction to caffeine is massively influenced by a gene called ADORA2A. This gene is the blueprint for those very adenosine receptors we were just talking about. A tiny, super common variation in this gene is what determines if you're caffeine sensitive or caffeine insensitive. It really is a genetic lottery, and it explains the huge difference in how every single one of us feels caffeine's effects on our sleep. So you can't change your genes, right? But don't worry, there are 3 incredibly powerful things that you can control: how much you have, when you have it, and your age. Getting a handle on these 3 is the absolute key to using caffeine smarter. First up, let's talk dose. The research on this is crystal clear. A small dose, about 100 milligrams, that's roughly your standard cup of coffee, usually doesn't have a major impact on sleep for most people. But a 400 milligram dose, which by the way is easy to get from a large coffee or a pre-workout, that is a whole different ballgame. It is proven to delay when you fall asleep, and it chops your sleep up into smaller, less restful pieces. And all those little disruptions, they add up, big time. A massive review of 24 different studies found a pretty shocking average. Across the board, caffeine cuts down our total sleep time by a staggering 45 minutes a night. Think about that. That's almost 4 hours of lost sleep every single week. And that brings us to timing. Caffeine has what's called a long half-life, which just means it loves to hang around in your system for hours and hours. To keep it from messing with your sleep, the evidence points to a clear rule. You need to stop drinking a standard coffee at least 8.8 hours before you plan to go to bed. And for something stronger like a pre-workout, you need to give it more than 13 hours. Yeah, that means your 3 p.m. coffee could still be buzzing in your system well past midnight. And finally, there's age. As we get into our middle years, our sleep just naturally becomes a bit more fragile. Studies are showing that middle-aged adults are often much more sensitive to the sleep-wrecking effects of high doses of caffeine compared to younger folks. So, the caffeine strategy that worked for you in your 20s, it might be time for a serious update. So if caffeine can be such a problem for sleep, why are we so attached to it? Well, the answer goes way beyond just wanting to feel awake. It actually taps into the deepest parts of our brain's motivation and reward systems. And, well, that relationship comes with a price.
Think about it. We don't just drink caffeine to feel awake. We drink it to feel motivated. That feeling of having no energy, of fatigue, it's a huge struggle for so many people. Caffeine helps because it fiddles with our dopamine systems, the exact same brain circuits involved in reward, focus, and that drive to just get up and do things. It gives us a reliable jolt of energy and vigor, and that feeling is incredibly reinforcing.
But when the caffeine starts to wear off, the brain pays you back. Your body, which has gotten used to that daily artificial boost, goes into withdrawal. And we're not just talking about a headache here. It's a whole wave of fatigue, moodiness, and a total crash in motivation. That awful feeling creates a really powerful reason to, you guessed it, reach for another cup. And that's how we get locked into that cycle of use and withdrawal.
But Here is the really good news. This does not mean you have to break up with caffeine for good. Not at all. The goal isn't to quit. It's about understanding how all this science works so you can take back control and start using it in a way that works for you, not against you.
So let's wrap this all up into a simple 4-step game plan. Step 1, know your genetics. Or in other words, just listen to your body. Pay attention to its signals to figure out if you're one of those sensitive types. Step 2, mind your dose. Smaller amounts are way less likely to cause problems. Step 3, and this is probably the big one, watch the clock. Set a non-negotiable cutoff time for yourself at least 8 to 10 hours before bed. And step 4, be ready to tweak these rules as you get older.
You know, in the end, it all comes down to a really simple question you have to ask yourself. Is that daily cup of coffee being timed to help you have a great morning? Or is it setting you up for a restless night? It can be an amazing tool for a productive day, but without some thought, it can just as easily be the thief that steals your sleep. The choice is yours.